Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and in this video I shall be talking about my birth in cystic fibrosis, along with my older brother and sister. And in the last part of the video, I shall be talking about a brief conversation about how cystic fibrosis is diagnosed. That's the word I was going to say. So make sure you stay tuned to find out more. Hello there, and a very warm welcome to my first ever vlog in CF and me. So I'm very excited to share my life stories with you. And I completely forgot to say that in my introduction. Perhaps every now and again I shall be sharing other videos that's not related, but a few cheeky ones too, so don't miss those. But as we go back to the story, as I said in the introduction, I should be talking about the birth of, or my particular birth of cystic fibrosis, should I say, along with my older brother and sister. And but before I begin this life journey, I'd like to say a big shout out to my dear mother, who helped me to prepare this video by taking down some notes. So if you see me like this, that means I'm reading the notes of what she remembered all those years ago. So a big shout out to my mother. So I know that she's going to watch this at some point, so God bless you for watching. And also to my sister, she's bound to watch this, no offence. And my brother, so bless you all for watching. So let's get cracking. So obviously, bear with me one moment. I'll just draw up the notes. Okay, so first of all, I do have to say that, as I said twice already, that I wasn't the only one in my family to be born with cystic fibrosis. First of all, my mother conceived my brother back in 1980, and obviously he was the first one to be born with this genetic condition, with cystic fibrosis. And obviously all those years ago, when my mother hang on, let's have a nice glass of water. There we go. Yeah, back in 1980, when my first brother was born from my mother, obviously, my mother didn't have a clue what cystic fibrosis meant, or even didn't understand what it involves. And obviously, back then, my mother got very upset by it. But and in some due respects, you don't really know the state of your child, or what health condition it might contain from your bodily functions, should I say, in due respects. But yeah, as I go back to my notes, so obviously my mother had to, well, in due respect, she had no choice but to finally accept the condition that my brother had been born with. But quite luckily at the time, my brother was born with it, but very mild. And I believe that the mild symptoms of CF is not as bad as the main symptoms with CF, if that makes sense. So, like for example, I sometimes get a bit sweaty in the hot weather, as it is now. And obviously when my brother is also in a sun, he doesn't get so sweaty like I do. And at some point in a different video, we shall be talking about medications. So please do check that out. And on the many different treatments also in cystic fibrosis. So I'm going to look forward to sharing those stories with you. And as I got in touch with my brother of late, he tells me that when he was 12, that he had not reached past 21, but as more treatments come along and more developments come along in medication, obviously it expands that life span to make us live longer. So it's great that more treatments and medication comes out from time to time to help us live a more longer life. And as I go back to my notes, I mean, obviously, obviously going back to the birth of my brother, when obviously when your own child, or when you hear that your own child has been born with cystic fibrosis, you perhaps do find it a bit scary. Excuse me, sorry. Another drink of water, there we go. Obviously you do find it a bit scary, especially if you don't know what cystic fibrosis is all about. But yeah, but in particular, that time, my mother told me of late that as soon as my brother was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, he was put into an incubator at the time, and so obviously he was separated from seeing my dear mother and father at that time. But in particular, he or my mother and father wasn't able to see their son. Should I say, for the very first time, for the whole duration of the week. And back then they were only able to see him just over the weekends. What else was there? So bear with me one moment. Yeah, and she also says that obviously it was a similar, if not the same situation for the whole three of us at that specific time. And obviously my brother was kept in hospital before being allowed out between 6 to 8 weeks. So obviously during that time, my mother could receive the correct medication, and obviously how much to give my brother to help with his chronic lung condition. So that's all she told me about my brother. My brother was born in 1980. I said that. So I do apologise if I repeat things now and again, because my memory isn't up to scratch. But yeah, thank you for trying to get to understand what I'm saying if I hadn't said it already. So thank you. Okay, so moving on. 4 years later, again, obviously when my mother was in a birth, or having a child again for the second time, my sister was born in obviously 1984. And obviously again, sad news, very sad news, was inflicted upon my mother in knowing that her second child was again born with this terrible disease or chronic lung condition with cystic fibrosis. So again, my mother got very upset by that. But obviously from the first time of knowing what cystic fibrosis actually means this time, then obviously my mother had a better understanding of what CF means. But obviously having two children with cystic fibrosis is perhaps upsetting enough, should I say. But in particular, my sister wasn't only just born with cystic fibrosis, she was also born or diagnosed with being asthmatic and also having diabetes. Now, I can't remember if that was from birth or she later developed that, but obviously she's asthmatic and she has diabetes too. But in particular with my older sister, she had obviously tubes in her incubator, because obviously at the time my own sister was had difficulty breathing like any other child would do. So I hope that makes sense, and I mean that in great respect. And obviously at the time my sister's breathing would have been shallow because of that asthmatic breathing pattern. So that's that particular story with my sister. And now we shall coming on to me. And I was born 5 years later, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm not very good at maths, so I am sorry, but obviously I was born in 1989, and in particular again my mother conceived me at the time, and again I guess it wasn't so upsetting like the first time, with my mother being so upset because twice her two previous children to be born with cystic fibrosis. Obviously, she had a greater understanding of what it meant and what treatments and medication was involved. So again, I shall be talking about all these different great things to help us in our lives in another video. So again, make sure you stay tuned to find out about that. Okay, but what was particularly interesting about me, because I'm always interesting, I am. No, yeah. So, but basically, one night when my mother was looking after me, a particular nurse came along to check upon me, as nurses would do. And what's interesting about my story is that nurse came along with a chocolate sweet, because I personally thought that she gave me a little biscuit to eat, but clearly I was wrong. So thank you, Mother, for correcting me with that. And she gave me a little chocolate sweet to eat, and basically I obviously digested it, and then within a few seconds at least I was sick all down her uniform, as she obviously held me, and so obviously that was perhaps embarrassing, maybe, and so my mother also tells me that I didn't particularly like the nurse either, so that was quite embarrassing, but I guess that's natural, I don't know. And obviously, moving forward a little bit, I was brought home about 9 weeks later. So just generally a little bit longer, or a bit longer than my own brother back then. And also, what has also sprung to mind is that because of our birth situations, we came out a bit earlier than expected. And you know, I mean, perhaps we can stand being in my mother's womb much longer. We really wanted to get out. Sorry, that's my little humour. But yeah, generally we obviously came out a bit earlier than expected, as I said, and I do apologise, Mother, if I've got this wrong. But I think that I was meant to be born where my sister was. Oh, obviously in the same year. But I think I was meant to have been born in July, or when my sister was, or was it April? I can't remember. But generally, we came out a bit earlier than expected. And then obviously for the same for my sister. So the whole three of us came out earlier than expected. And then obviously as time goes on, we had good days and bad days, as all children do, as they start to grow up. I mean, I'm certainly amazed of how I've grown up so high from back in 1989 to this present day. So it's like, gosh, how, you know, you sort of wonder where those years have gone by. I mean, time certainly flies by, and that's for sure. And as I'm getting towards the end of my fascinating story, yeah, so obviously, like I said, we had good days and bad days, and as the weather was nice, she was allowed. We was allowed to be taken home in a pram, or just taken out within hospital grounds. That I believe, or what my mother tells me, in the hospital ground for around 20 minutes to obviously get some fresh air. Yes, so that was that's our life stories between the three of us. That's the first part of the conversation, and now we shall be moving on to the next conversation of how CF, cystic fibrosis, or CF for short, is diagnosed. So stay tuned to find out more. Okay, welcome back to part 2 of this very short video of how cystic fibrosis is diagnosed. So here I am again with my fresh glass of water. Cheers. But most of all, thank you very much for staying to the end to find out more. Bless you. In this very short video, like I said already, how is cystic fibrosis diagnosed? Now, obviously, I don't know a great deal in this particular subject, but obviously what I do understand is that there is something called the sweat test. But again, I don't particularly know what that involves, but I'm going to be cheeky right now and have a little look on the wacky World Wide Web, should I say. So, obviously looking upon the internet, obviously if you haven't got the internet, for example, or or something like that. You obviously know what I mean. Yeah, so obviously that's the main factor to decide whether you've got cystic fibrosis or perhaps any other genetic condition. I don't know for sure, but if you perhaps want to correct me on anything, you're very welcome to make notes or say something below. But yeah, so I go back to the wacky World Wide Web, which is great to find out any information that you're looking for. So the how is a sweat test done? And it basically, if I just read specific questions, in the first part of the test, a colorless, colorless. I sometimes pronounce words difficult, so I do apologise. Colorless, odorless chemical, and a little electrical stimulation is applied to a small area of the arm or leg to encourage the sweat glands to produce sweat. A person may feel tingling in the area or a feeling of warmth. This part of the test lasts about 5 minutes. So that's that question. Obviously, I shan't go through every single question. So the main ones: what does a sweat test reveal? A sweat test measures the amount of chloride, a part of salt in sweat, and obviously that's how CF is diagnosed through that sweat. I mean, like I said in my first video, I sweat a lot, especially in the sun, and especially when I want to take my t-shirt off, and I sort of struggle getting my t-shirt off because it's like trying to not pull it off but drag it off, because my back's full of sweat. So that's so not so embarrassing, but it's part of the fun. I don't know, does a sweat test hurt? The test is done by collecting some of your child's sweat to measure the amount of chloride in a sweat. This test can be performed on any child who is at least 2 days old. There is no needles used in this test, and it does not hurt. Do cystic fibrosis patients sweat more? Well, yes, especially me. I mean, yes, especially me. And then if I just quickly read, obviously in the sun, a CF is caused by a faulty gene that controls the movement of chloride and water into and out of cells. People with CF often sweat more than people without the condition, and this sweat contains high levels of chloride, which can crystallize into salt visibly on the skin. So obviously, like I said, when I'm out and about, I obviously may not have to dampen myself down with a piece of kitchen roll, because obviously I'll start sweating like the River Thames, for example, but obviously not so dramatic as that. So obviously if you want to correct me on anything, you're more than welcome to do so. Obviously, is there anything else? Obviously, if you see me for the very first time, obviously you don't really know if I've got cystic fibrosis or not unless I tell you in person. But I suppose the other different factors of knowing whether you have CF or not in the physical sense is by clubbed fingers. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know if you can perhaps see that, but basically what clubbed fingers mean is exactly how it sounds. Now, obviously, a person without cystic fibrosis have much thinner, or not too thin, of course, but obviously thinner fingers to what I have, or especially bound that. So that's another factor of knowing that you've got cystic fibrosis, and obviously having clubbed fingers, again, just my little joke, that doesn't exclude you playing golf. Sorry, that's just my little joke. I mean, like, obviously, you know, past mini golf, for example, you know, you can just use your clubbed fingers and just play golf. I'm terrible for jokes, I really am. Okay. What else could I say before I come to this end? I think just on the facial wise, before I finish, obviously in more other people without cystic fibrosis, that they perhaps, in great respects, I don't mean this in otherwise, people look a bit fatter on the face, and obviously I look a bit thinner on the face because I've got cystic fibrosis along with my brother and sister. Blind, I nearly forgot. I'm so sorry. So yeah, obviously there are many different factors, I think, physically, in showing symptoms of cystic fibrosis. But obviously but yeah, I mean, obviously if there's anything else that you can perhaps think of, and obviously again, you're more than welcome to post down below. So great, that's it. So as we now come to the end of this video, I'd like to say a big thank you ever so much for watching me in my first ever video. And obviously, if you haven't done so already, you'll please hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, make sure you hit that notification up there somewhere so that you never miss a thing. And also at some stage I would like to be hosting a question and answer session. So obviously I will post a video about that in God's perfect timing, should I say, because obviously I'm a believer in Christianity. So like I said, I'll keep you updated on that. So yeah, so I'm going to be looking forward to my next recording next time. So until then, thank you once again for watching me, and until next time, thank you very much. God bless you for watching, and take care. Thank you very much. And so in my next video, I shall be talking about all my glamorous school days, along with my own brother's school days, and also my sister's school days too. So whatever happens, make sure you come back to check it out.